That's what I was going to ask, actually. Do you think it was entirely a personal decision, or were you ever under pressure from other people in the business to
Oh no,
take
totally
steroids?
my own decision. Yeah, I was a total victim of myself. As I said, no one actually forced them onto me. It was my own decision to take them, and obviously the dealers, they ain't going to turn me away because they, oh Phil, you come and get these because they're making money out of me. And as I said, it comes in those insecurities, and people would always joke with you, what's the easiest way to make the rest of their power? And I say, you lost weight, and you think, oh, here we go, I've got better sticking a few more steroids in me because I'm losing weight and losing size. So and it just got to that point.
Let's talk about happier times. Let's
Yeah.
fast forward to 2002. The FWA has been in existence for 3 years. It's kind of an upstart company still, very much at the time the only company really sort of practicing the new school style of wrestling in the UK. And I think it's reasonable to say that although they were doing okay at the time, they needed kind of one of the established guys from All Star or from one of the other established promotions to give them that kind of credibility to say, that these guys are legit, they're a real company that's going places. So when you agreed to become involved with the FWA, do you think that that you achieved that in some way, that you gave it that kind of credibility?
Well, I'd like to think so. I mean, you know, again, with the FWA, it was one of those things that I was coming through a bad time in my career. As I said, my wife had split up and I took it quite badly. And the irony is the moment I lost my wife, I lost all my wrestling work as well. So the only thing that was a constant in my life, or it was keeping me sane, was my wrestling work. And once I lost that, I thought, what am I going to do? So, and the opportunity came through with the FWA, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I'm not doing anything else. And I thought, I remember the first show that I went in with a bloke was in Portsmouth, No Surrender, and I was on with Kerry Cabrero. And I'd known Alex as well, Alex Shane, who I'd spoken to, and he got me the opportunity. And he said, well, come on, Phil, give it a go. And I said, oh, no, I don't know. But, obviously I gave it the opportunity, and he put me with Kerry, and we had a blinding match. And from that moment, I was hooked with the FWA, of the attitude with the guys backstage. Yeah, again, maybe a few of them were a bit standoffish at me at first, because, again, I was old school, new school. But I'd done my match with Kerry Cabrera, and they was coming back and they were saying, great match, Phil, really enjoyed that. And, again, as I said, with all wrestlers, we want to be accepted. I actually felt being accepted into a wrestling family again, and that really made me feel good. And, and I was, at that time, was being Alex Shane, sort of head of security, doing the Mr. Blonde. And I remember because his match was with Little Guido and sort of Jasmine Sinclair, so we were all working, and I always remember the gimmick that I was going to be under the ring, and he would stamp his foot in the ring, and I'd get out, attack Little Guido, and get back in the ring. And I remember one time he done it, and I went charging out the ring and hit my head on the ring apron and nearly knocked myself out. And I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to hit this guy. Well, I hope I don't hurt him, But it was then, looking at their production of the show and the workers they had, and and with me, I thought, well, they're giving an old fool like myself an opportunity, and I really see that as beginning of the future of the way the wrestling, or the way wrestling should be done in this country, or the way that I actually wanted to wrestle, for the future. And again, I found my love not only for the wrestling, but I actually found my love for myself again. So I actually started respecting myself again.
Was there something in being part of a company that was trying to do something different, as opposed to nothing again, all respect to All Star or whatever, but obviously they've been doing very much the same kind of act for a long time.
I mean, I think so. Yeah, I mean, as much as I got enjoyment out of All Star, and don't forget, I mean, they put me on with the likes of Kendo. I worked with William Regal and Dave Finlay. I mean, Dave Finlay was, to me, was just my ultimate legend of a guy. He's one of these guys that was, he's the best this business has ever produced in this country, and he was awe-inspiring. And again, knowing that he was legitimately tough, you know, I was going into the matches and being a little bit less confident, thinking, oh, I hope I don't mess this up. I'm really, really, you know, I was petrified to wrestle him. And, you know, after I wrestled him a few times, and unfortunately I wrestled him once as the Red Power Ranger, which was the gimmick I'd done. Yes, I hold my hand up, I was the original Power Ranger. So, yeah, I just spelled a few Smiths, I was the original Power Ranger. And, you know, the guy was just amazing. You know, he was absolute amazing. And I think when you get accepted by those guys, I actually thought, well, you know, I sort of made it. But you got to move on. And as I said, you know, some of the companies that I worked for were stuck in the way, stuck in their old ways of the way it used to be in the 50s. And as I said, with the FWA, for me, it was a new dynamic approach. They were using new talent, new styles. You know, it was much more athletic, much more acrobatic. They were bringing people in from abroad, which wasn't being done at the time. And as I said, the production value was great. And it was just this real buzz that I hadn't felt before, or hadn't felt for a long, long time. And yeah, I knew I'd bought the right ticket for the right train. So yeah, definitely.
I mean, they certainly put a lot of faith in you at the Revival show in 2002. You were in the opener with Doug Williams, and then, of course, after that, you went on to win the British Heavyweight Championship from Doug. Did you consider that to be a career highlight the night you won that?
Oh, absolutely. Not only a career highlight, but it was a career honour. You know, I mean, as much as I'd held various titles, it didn't really mean that much. Yeah, but here was the first credible company that had a good title history that I could actually put my name to. That actually meant something. You know, I'd wrestled Doug quite a few times, and yeah, we were quite good mates, to be honest with you. And it was always a pleasure to wrestle him because I knew we brought the best out of each other. And you know, when I wrestled him at Revival, you know, first on, you know, opening up a massive show, which was a huge show at the time on TV, and you know, it's the first time I'd been on TV for a long, long time. And you know, the whole production of it, the backstage camaraderie, you know, having the likes of Eddie Guerrero there, Brian Christopher, you know, Dynamite Kid. It was a dream come true. It really was, that I could be on the same show as these people, which I regard as all my heroes, and also being that I was respected as much as them. And obviously, you know, I'd done my thing with Doug, and then obviously the company showed that they had enough faith in me to push me to the top, to take the title. For me, that was a massive, massive honour. That, you know, I'd be their figurehead. You know, and people don't really appreciate that it is an honour to hold a title. You know, it's not just a piece of metal strapped around your waist. There is an absolute honour to be given that title, and that you've then now become the number one star, the ambassador for that company. And that's after all the stars they did have, you know, with Doug and that, you know, to give it to me was, well, you know, it was my dream come true. You know, if I would have died the next day, then I would have died a happy man. And yeah, I remember that match because they had, you know, Mick McManus there to present it to us. And, you know, it's definitely it ranks up there as my career highlight. And, you know, I have pictures and memories, and they will never go away.